So, I had a problem. Actually, I had two problems. No, wait, I had three problems. But I've got a solution to all three of them. So my first problem was with Lightroom. Now Lightroom is great. It's very good. Specifically, my problem was around the import module of Lightroom. As you know, the greatest feature of Lightroom is the fact that it has a digital asset manager and that you import your files or your photos into the asset manager so that you can then work on them as an editor. The problem I have with Lightroom's import module is that it would bring in the photos and the videos off my cameras into the same folder. Not ideal, because Lightroom is really bad at handling video files. It's a photo editing program, not a video editing program. Why would it even think about handling video files? It's crazy. Another part of that problem is that I record my video audio to an external Zoom audio recorder. Lightroom just doesn't handle those files at all. So now what? So my solution was to write a little program that does the copying from the memory cards, the SD cards, onto the computer before Lightroom even handles it, so that I can have more control over where the files go and how they're named. Let me show you. So let's look at Lightroom first, and then I'll show you my little program that I've written. So here in Lightroom, you know the import module. That's fine. Yeah, let's go have a look. So here's some files that I've got on this disk, ready for importing. Let's just pretend they're coming in from an SD card. And actually there are some audio files that are not showing up here because Lightroom doesn't know how to handle audio files. So what it's going to do in the normal circumstances, you know this very well yourself already, is it's going to copy these to the destination that we choose, and it does quite a good job, and we can rename the files as we go and put it into the correct folders. So for example, I like to name my files with the date time stamp that the media file was created, and I want my files to go into a folder structure that has got the year and then the date that the media was created. So I specifically want the year so that I can archive a whole year at a time, and it just makes for easier management that way. So for example, I can just take all my 2012 folders and archive them off onto a separate disk as necessary, just as an example. And likewise, I want all my files that I've taken on a particular day to appear into one folder. I'm not going to import this now. I'm going to show you my better solution to this problem. So here's my little program that I've written. Pretty straightforward, not particularly rocket science. We've got our source folders. This is obviously just sample data where we're saying where it's coming from. We've got a target folder. We're going to put it onto a folder called C target just because we can. And then we've got this folder style and file style. So what's that about? So the folder style is say how we want the structure to be. I particularly want it to be photos, videos, audio, and then the date, so that the photos and videos and audio files land up in their own separate folders. But you can change it around as you need to. And similarly for the file style, we can change that around as well. So for example, I'd just like it as the date timestamp and then the original ID, which is the last 4 digits that the camera would append to a file name to keep each file unique. I've got this thing here called project name. It's possible, and there are certain circumstances where you may actually want to name a particular project as such. So for example, we may be shooting a wedding, so we could say we've got Tom and Mary's wedding, and let's put it into a folder. We don't even need the dates, we can just say let's stick it in there. So it's going to create a folder called Tom Mary Wedding Photos, or videos or audio, and then the date structure as we need it. You could even do something like this if you really wanted to, where you append the project name to the end. So we're not going to do that for right now. We're just going to do it as I would normally do it. Let's run it and let's see what happens. Oh, look, those files are copied. And we can see where it's gone to. So, for example, you can see how this file that has been named DCF00 number will get renamed during the copying process to the date timestamp when the file was actually created. And obviously it picks that up from the internal date stamp that is associated with that file and stored with the file. Right, so then that's copied. And you can see on my local disk it has gone and created folder, because we chose the file style to be type. It's gone and created a folder for for audio, for videos and photos, and we can see that it has put the various files into that folder structure exactly as I asked for. So what happens then? So we've got the files onto the disk, but now we need to get them into Lightroom. So let's go back into Lightroom and see how that works. So we're back into the import module of Lightroom now, and we can go find the target folder where we put all these things. And note, for Lightroom we only want to bring in the photos, we don't want the videos, so we can just choose photos, and they're the photos. We definitely don't want the videos. Lightroom doesn't know anything about audio files, so we can just say bring those in. And notice we are only going to add them to the catalog and not to copy, because we've done the copy already. We're just going to add them, and because we're adding, there's no options down the right hand bar to do any of the renaming. I can import those, and a few seconds later all will be copied in, hopefully. There we go, added to our catalog, and we can continue working with them just as we would normally work in Lightroom. So that was the first part of the problem. What was the second part of the problem? So when I go away for a few days at a time, like maybe 2-3 days, I don't necessarily want to have to carry a laptop around just so I can do backups of the media that I've created in those few days. It's a bit of a pain carrying a laptop just for a couple of days. Going over a longer period, yes, probably would take a laptop. So this little program that I've written also works on a Raspberry Pi. So I've got a cheap little screen attached to this Pi, a card reader, and an external disk, all just plugged into USB, and it works. It's very messy and quite cumbersome to handle all the cables, but you know what? It works for me. Would I like a NAR box? Yes, I would like a NAR box. That would be great, but I can't afford one, and this is a great challenge to be able to get this little program to work on Windows and on Raspberry Pi. And if you're asking, yes, it probably will work on an Apple Mac as well. I'm happy for anybody to try it out and let me know if it does work or doesn't work. So what is the third problem then? So my third problem was that I wanted to learn Python programming, and well, this gave me the perfect opportunity to try it out. This is actually the third incarnation of this program. I've tried it in .NET, I've tried it in Python 3 times, two and a half times now. Let's have a quick look at what it looks like on the Raspberry Pi. It doesn't look any different really. It's exactly the same program. Works in exactly the same way. Anything that really differs is where the files are stored on various disks, because obviously Linux has a different way of structuring their folders and disks as opposed to Windows. So there you have it. That was just an interesting look at my little program. might work, might not work for you, doesn't matter. It works for me. Thanks for watching.